Hi all, my name is Chandran Somaya and I am Founders and Leaders Coach. So today I'm recording a session on how do you master your emotions, and this is a specifically curated course to help my clients. And this video is I'm going to give it for free so that you can go through this video and develop your emotional intelligence to tackle your business life and career problems. Okay. So let me start. So what are you going to learn in this video? So you are going to learn what are emotions and their origin, understanding physical symptoms of your emotions, how to know if you are suppressing emotions or you are not able to control them. Then the most important part, how do you know, control your emotions and become emotionally aware so that you can handle the situations around you. Sixth is self-awareness and emotional control, and then bonus I will give you and explain what is primary and secondary emotion. Okay, so let's start with this. So as I said, right, here is the scientific definition of emotions. What are emotions basically, right? So it's a conscious mental reaction subjectively experienced as strong feelings, usually directed towards a specific object and typically accompanied by psychological and behavioral changes in the body. So let's take an example. Conscious mental reaction. Let's understand this in a little deeper way, right? So let's say you're going on a highway, right, and somebody is driving rashly and it bypasses you very closely, right? So now there is a conscious mental reaction of fear changing into anger and maybe a rage, and you might hurl some bad words at that person, right? Or you might, just avoid it, correct? But there is definitely a reaction in your conscious mental reaction, right? A conscious brain of some mental reaction, whether it is fear, whether it is anger, whether it is frustration, but there is a reaction to it, right? Towards a specific object. Now, the object here is a person who's driving the car rashly. Psychological behavioral reactions in the body are you might yell at, hurl at that person, or you might just feel angry and put, fist on your own car, right? So that's a physical reaction in short, right? So, but let me put this into a very simple way, right? So our five senses pick up information based on our interaction with people, situation, environment, and this information is interpreted by brain. Brain does this interpretation based on our belief and value system, experience, psychological symptoms. So we will talk about belief and value as well. But as I said, let's take another example of honking in traffic, right? So you're standing at a signal, but someone is continuously, honking at you, right? Now, of course, you will get angry. You know there is a signal, and you're not a fool to stand at a signal for no reason, right? But there are people who will still honk at you, right? So now the reason why you're getting angry is because you believe that you should not trouble people, right? Because you are not honking. You know, right? If you honk, it can cause problem to people, right? Unnecessary noise pollution, right? So that's your belief that I should not trouble people. The value is that I should not fight with people, right? Now that guy is honking, but your belief is that you should not trouble people, but the other person is doing the quite opposite of what you believe in, right? Now that's why there is a reaction. Now value, I should not fight, so this is your value. This is an example of value, right? Now he's honking. Either you can go and fight with him and yell at him why you're honking, right? Or you can ignore it, right? Now you have a value that you should not fight, right? So that's why you're ignoring, but still, because of your belief, there is some internal reaction within you that is causing you to get angry, right? So that is the explanation of what our emotions are and how they are created. So they are created based on our belief and value system, right? Anything that contradicts that too, that it can create a negative emotion or a positive emotion. Okay, so let's go to next slide. So in this next slide, we will understand the origin of our emotions, right? So how do they origin? So they origin from needs, values, thinking patterns, and these create our emotional needs. Let's take an example to understand this. Need. I need to earn money so that I can send my kids to good school. But what will happen if you don't earn enough money? What emotions will it create? And what if vice versa happens, right? So here there is a need, an emotional need of you that wants your kids to go to a nice school, right? So that for that you need to earn good amount of money. What if that need is not met? What reaction or emotion that you will experience? You will experience sadness, disappointment, lack of self confidence, lack of self worth, that you are not good enough to provide your children with good school or good education, right? And what will happen if you do it? You will experience positive emotions, joy, happiness, satisfaction, because your need and emotional needs are met. Okay. So this is how need create our emotional reactions, be it positive or negative. If our emotional needs are not met, it creates a negative emotion. If our emotional needs are met, it creates a positive emotions. Value. Let's understand value. So I should be kind. So let's see this as an example of mine. I feel kindness is my value. I want to be kind to people, right? So let's take an example. Your value is that you should treat people with kindness, right? And now someone is rude to you in office, right? For example, your boss, then what will happen, right? Now there is a mismatch of between your and his value, right? Your value is to be kind and his value is not, does not have kindness in it, right? So he's rude. Now you will get angry or rude or you become frustrated, right? Or there could be, clashes between you and bosses, and it can impact you mentally, financially, and you might have to change the job or you might have to quit, right? So now there is a mismatch of values. That's why there is a negative emotion experience, right? For example, if someone is kind to you and you have a value and you also have a value that is as a kindness, right? Then if someone is kind to you, of course you will feel positive feelings, right? You will get along with those kind of people very easily, right? So that's how our values also define our emotional reactions, be it positive or negative thinking patterns, right? So let's take an example here. Based on experience, I have realized that it's not good to trust people. What kind of emotions and behavior this will draw, right? So now you'll be skeptic of people. You'll always, take time to trust people, right? And when you are skeptic, it might create some discomfort and negative emotions in you or in the next person that you're dealing with, right? So these thinking patterns are based and formed based on our childhood upbringing and also the experiences that we have throughout our life. Okay. So these thinking patterns also define our emotional reactions in a positive way or a negative way, right? Let's try to understand value again, right? I should take care of my family, right? Now that's your value, right? You want to take care of your family, so that's why you are saving money. You are, you're not investing in your passion because you feel as a man or a woman that you need to save money for your uh, kids' bright future or for your family's bright future, right? So, and again, I've given one more example of a car, right? Yeah, so we will go to the next slide. Now, since we have understood what is the origin of emotions, we will try to understand the physical symptoms and labeling of emotions. It is important to understand the physical symptoms of emotions so that you can label them properly. Once you label emotions based on your psychological reactions, then you will respond and not react. We can't apply techniques to control the emotions unless we know what emotions we are experiencing, right? So let me rephrase this in a very simple way, right? Before you start controlling your emotional reactions, you really need to understand the emotions first. What are the emotions that you are experiencing or the other person is experiencing, and how to understand those emotions by labeling them. By labeling them, understanding, for example, if someone is talking to you rudely, so you need to understand whether that person is frustrated or angry, right? But how would you know if it is frustrated and angry or either of the both, right? That you will come to know by labeling the emotions, right? So there are some physical clues by which we'll be able to understand whether that person, is feeling what kind of an emotion. Okay, so let's take an example here of an anxiety, right? So rapid heart rate, shortness of breath, sweating, dry mouth, upset stomach or nausea, muscle tension or itches, dizziness or lightheadedness. So these are the physical symptoms of anxiety. So this is well recorded and scientifically proven that these are the physical symptoms of anxiety. Okay, but how would you know, right? So you can see whether if that person is having shortness of breath, right? If that person is sweating, right? And if that person is very stiff, then you know that person is experiencing anxiety. That person might also be experiencing other emotions as well, right? But this is just one of the example, right? Let's take a second example of love, compassion, right? So when you feel love and compassion, what do you feel? Warmth in the chest or heart area, relaxation of the body, a gentle smile or softened facial expression, physical closeness or touch, desire to hug, hold hands, etc. Right? So these are the two emotions that you will experience in your life. Okay, I mean these are the physical symptoms you'll experience. When you have this kind of emotions. So when you have anxiety, you will feel this kind of physical symptoms, and when you feel love, compassion, you will feel the physical symptoms as mentioned on the slide. These are just two examples, but there are a lot of emotions that we experience as humans, right? And all have different physical symptoms. So I've given that as a list in the next slide. Let me go to next slide. So this is how we experience physical. So these are the psychological responses to our emotions. Okay. I will not read everything on the slide, but I think you can take a quick snapshot if you want. So I'll just stay on the screen for 2 to 3 minutes so that you can take a snapshot. Now, most of the time we suppress emotions, but it is not a good thing to suppress our emotions, right? Because if you suppress your emotions, it can come forth in a very uglier way and can cause you financial, physical, and emotional loss as well, right? And it is also scientifically proven that suppressing emotions has a very bad impact on physical and mental health. Let's take an example. People can have cancer, they can have insomnia, they can have rage, they can become impaired brain function, they can have anxiety, they can, go into depression as well. So it is very important to, not suppress your emotions and share it with people. So always have an outlet where you can share your emotions to. If you don't have a person where you can go and share emotions, hire a coach, go to a therapist, or if it's a chronic thing, go to even a psychiatrist, right? But do not suppress your emotions. It has very difficult impact on your life, and it can also spoil your life as well, right? So how do we know if someone is suppressing their emotions? So these are the few changes in behavior: sudden withdrawal, overcompensation, avoidance, right? So for example, if someone was talking to you very nicely and suddenly now they're not talking to you, right? And they're talking very short to you, so you know that there is something that they they are experiencing certain emotions while talking to you and they want to avoid it, right? So that is one symptom. Overcompensation. If someone talks too much, right, that is also a change in the behavior. Avoidance. Someone, completely, you start avoiding people or people avoid you, vice versa, right? Same thing for sudden withdrawal and avoidance. Either you overcompensate or you suddenly withdraw, right? Inconsistent emotional reaction, minimal emotional expression, inappropriate reactions, right? So, for example, you experience loss in share market, which is very huge, right? But you're not feeling anything. So you're feeling very minimal emotional reaction. So that's not also a good sign. That means you require uh, emotional rebalance, right? Inappropriate reactions. For example, you might have seen in certain movies like Joker, right? He starts laughing when he was crying, right? So this is a symptom of somebody suppressing their emotion, right? So this comes as a mental reaction or a mental illness also, right? Physical symptoms: tension, fatigue, psychomatic issues, headaches, some stomachs, feeling low energy for no reason, right? Defensiveness, evasive communication, irritability, denial. And people who suppress emotions, they generally they become addicted, like substance abuse, overeating, or undereating, right? So men, especially, they go for drinks, or they do substance abuse. Women tend to do junk food eating, right? Crying and being emotional, right? And irritability. These are the changes in women. And men tend to go towards alcohol, cigarette, or even drugs sometimes. How to control emotions. So it's, as a human, it is very uh, you know difficult for us to control emotions. So it's not always possible to control all the time our emotional reactions, right? And that is also perfectly normal. So you should not try to control your emotions every time, but you should be aware of the emotions that you are experiencing so that you can better manage them. Okay. So this is how I will say, right? uh, all emotions are good, but not all behavior. So you can experience all emotions. For example, you are feeling angry, but don't go and punch in somebody's face, right? So that will not end you well in your life, right? So punching in the face is a behavior, experiencing anger is an emotion, right? So emotions are good, but not all behavior, right? So experience the emotions, but don't control it in such a that it doesn't come in your behavior or it doesn't become your habitual behavior. If you're not able to manage emotions, and if that happens, forgive yourself, right? For example, it happens in family, right? Where especially when we are bonded with someone whom we love, right? So we tend to become angry with them or get disappointed, and we say a few things that we don't want to say, and they become hurt, right? So in that sense, forgive yourself and forgive the other person and ask an apology, right? uh, but try to avoid it in the first place. But if it doesn't happen, at least go and forgive yourself and ask for forgiveness, right? uh, then also, second thing is understand emotional needs, right? So this ties back to the first slide that I showed you, right? If your emotional needs are not met, you'll experience negative emotions, but if they are met, you'll experience positive emotions. Let's take an example of sending your kid to a good school. Right now, if you are able to send them, you will experience joy, happiness. If you're not able to send them, you will feel sad, disappointed, and angry. Good. Let me go to next slide. How to control emotions, right? Now, these are the 5 6 techniques that can help you to control your emotions, and then you know uh, help you manage your emotions and mentality easily. Okay, so breathing exercise, right? 2 times inhale, 1 time exhale. So like this, 2 times and 1 time exhale. Look at the sky, right? When you look up, it access your rational thinking brain, right? Certain part of the brain that can regulate your emotions. So whenever you feel angry or something, just look up. Looking up will help you reduce your reaction to that statement or the person that the person is talking, right? Drink water, right? If you're in a heated situation, right? Let's take an example. If you're sitting in a meeting, right, where it's an heated discussion going on, so normally take your water with you and then try to hydrate. So for example, if you are trying to say something, just take a sip of water. That will help you saying something that you'll regret later, right? Count from 20 backwards. So start counting 20 backwards, like 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, right? So this will slow you down. That will help you not react. Ask for time out, right? Certain times you are into a meeting that's going for a long time, but you're not coming to a conclusion, right? take a break, ask for a break, let's take a time out, right? And then regroup together, so that this allows to emotions to settle down and come to again to a conclusive discussion. Okay, being mindful, set aside 15 minutes daily and sit silently and observe your thoughts, emotions as a third person. So for example, if you're feeling angry, so say, okay, right now this person is feeling angry. Speak as a third person. Okay, right now Chandan is feeling angry. Okay, and just observe that thought. You don't have to do anything. Oh, right now I'm feeling happy or I'm feeling peaceful, right? Observe that as a third person, so you will understand your own emotions and your own thinking patterns and emotional patterns. Okay, so always pause, think, and then respond. So if you are ever in any situation, does not matter how situation bad is, but always pause before you speak anything. Think before you speak and then respond. Okay. So this is the end of our course, and I hope you liked it, and I hope you'll be able to implement this in your real life scenarios. Feel free to provide feedback and reach out to me on my LinkedIn and on my Facebook account or on my Instagram account. It is by the name Chandan Somaya. You can always reach out to me, and I'm happy to answer you if you have any queries. So thank you again, and